Sean Carroll claims his roommate threw his pet tarantula against the wall, which ended his best friend's life.
All rise.
Brad Lopez says when he took a selfie with the spider, the arachnid bit him. Mr. Lopez is countersuing for $1,200.
Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Lauren Lake presiding.
You may be seated.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello, Sean. Good day, everyone.
Good day.
This is the case of Carroll versus Lopez. Mr. Carroll, you are suing Mr. Lopez for $700 for harming your pet. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Lopez, you say that the plaintiff gave permission and you're countersuing for $1,200 in medical expenses. Is that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
All right. I'll start with you, the plaintiff, Mr. Carroll. What brings you here today?
Let me start from the beginning. This was about 9 months ago when we first met, and I was looking for a roommate.
Okay.
I live by myself. It helped pay the bills and have somebody, a companion. I don't have many friends, so it would be have somebody to talk to. So I put an ad out on Facebook Marketplace. So Lopez here had responded to that ad. I showed him the apartment. He saw his bedroom. It's a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment. Details on the rent would be $1,000 a month. We agreed, we had a verbal agreement on the rent, $1,000 a month, and everything was fine. After about a month, he noticed that I had he happened to go into my room for whatever reason, or saw in my door that there was an enclosure and wanted to know more about that. That was my pet tarantula, Sassafras.
Sassafras?
Sassafras, that is her name, yes. She's
interesting name. How'd you get that name for a tarantula?
You know, they could be a little sassy, but this is my pet. I've had her 11 years. This was somebody I could confide in. It was my personal friend as well as my pet.
So when you showed him the apartment originally and he decided to move in, you never gave him any indication of what your personal space looked like?
There was no reason to, because this is my personal space. Just as I didn't show him the tarantula, I did not tell him about my computer that was on my desk or what books were on my bookshelf. This was a room that would be that's my personal room.
If I'm moving into an apartment with somebody and they have a tarantula, I want to know. But that's just me.
Right.
Mr. Lopez, so you responded to the ad. So when he showed you the place, was it very odd to you that he didn't show you, like, and this is my room?
It was odd, because he did not mention nothing else. He just said $1,000 for the room. I was coming from Nevada. He just showed me the room. That was it. So, but I was desperate. I needed to have somewhere to live, and so I just took it. I didn't question it after until one day that I was just passing by the room, and his room door was open.
Okay.
It was dark, and the only light that was in it is into this cage that was beaming light onto that cage. I don't know what it was. And so I told him, like, hey, what do you have in your room? And he told me, like, oh, it's a tarantula creature, whatever. And I told him, there's no, he said no pets allowed. I want to have like a little dog, just a little one, nothing crazy. He said no pets allowed. So I confronted him about that creature.
Arachnid.
How did we get hurt? Why are we here?
Well, after a month, and when he first saw it, he kept asking me questions, wanted to know more about it. He kept nagging me, I want to see it, I want to see it, I want to see it. So finally, I said, okay, I will let you see it. And I brought him into the room. I opened up the enclosure, and he wanted to take a picture. He took out his phone, he took a picture of it. And then he said, oh, can I hold it, can I hold it? And I kept telling him, no, I don't think it's a good idea. They're venomous. They won't bite unless they're scared, but if you don't hold it right, he kept going, oh, please, I want to hold it, I want to hold it, I want to hold it, please, please, please. So I said, okay, fine. I had him put out his hand. I gently nudged her so that she would crawl into his hand so they could hold her. And he decided, hey, look, it's a tarantula, and picked up and put it on his shoulder.
It bit me, Your Honor.
And of course it did, because you scared her.
All right. You got bit. What happened?
I warned you.
I had it here. I was going to take a quick selfie until...
But you didn't say, Mr. Carroll, how about if I put the tarantula on my shoulder? I really want to get a picture of it on my shoulder. Did you say that before you did it?
I didn't ask him.
You just went from holding the hand open like this to...
just slowly, because it was...
Was that slowly?
It was calm, and I was just slowly putting it on my neck until... And I had my phone ready to take a selfie.
And during this slow process, you never said, don't do that.
Coming up.
But did you say it? I just said, did you say it?
I was in shock, to be honest. I was in absolute shock that he would do that.
And you just stood like this.
We're back with the case of Sean Carroll, who blames Brad Lopez for the demise of his pet tarantula.
He literally just took it and said, ooh, and before I knew it, I was like, what are you doing?
Now, Sean, I'm going to hold my hand like this. Then I'm going to move it to my shoulder. Let's see if you have time enough to say, don't do that. Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1.
Don't you do that.
By the time you said that, it was already on your shoulder.
But did you say it? I just said, did you say it?
I was in shock, to be honest. I was in absolute shock that he would do that.
And you just stood like this?
I was like, what are you doing? I didn't say stop. I was just actually literally said, what are you doing?
That's not what you would say about a tarantula.
It's the first thing that came to my mind. I don't know what to say.
What are you doing?
I told him very clearly, just to hold it in his hand.
Did you try to get the tarantula off his shoulder, or you just watched him do it?
I watched it happen, and it just happened so fast. And as soon as he put it on his shoulder, that's when she bit him. And that's when he took the tarantula and slammed it against the wall. And I'm watching this, and I can picture this.
This tarantula don't want to be bothered with either one of you.
It would have been better if I left it in the cage.
Really doesn't. Don't want to be bothered.
No, they don't. They would rather be left in the cage.
Don't feel like being nobody's science project.
I wish it was left in the cage. I only took it out so that for his benefit to see him.
But you gave the permission. You know how when people want to pet the snake, they always give you very specific instructions on how you are to stand and what you are supposed to do as the snake comes on you, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you give any of those instructions?
I did, Your Honor.
What did you say?
I told him to hold his hand out steady and not to move, not to make any sudden movements, and just to hold it. It was only so that he could feel it.
Then he took it on himself and tried to put it on the shoulder for the picture.
Yes.
And that's when you went into shock.
Yes.
Okay. Did anybody bring any evidence?
I did, Your Honor.
Let me see it, please.
Thank you.
And I have a copy of the...
defendant, you brought evidence that shows...
I have the invoice for the...
These are your bills.
Yeah, the bill.
From your bite.
Yeah, the
for $1,200, which is what you're suing for.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so when you went to the hospital, you had to get blood,
EKG.
you had to have an x-ray, EKG, my Lord.
It was painful stuff, Your Honor.
Your emergency room visit.
Pretty expensive.
Mr. Carroll, you have a receipt for...
That was the price that I had paid for sassafras 11 years ago.
Sassafras died because of this?
Yes, like I said, his reaction was to grab it off his shoulder and slam it against the wall. I watched it. It was almost like watching it in slow motion. I saw her
and
going
this is
into
a picture
the wall,
of
down.
sassafras on your arm.
Yes, Your Honor, that is her.
And the Lord.
You see how intimidating it could be?
I cannot reply. I can get another tarantula. I cannot replace sassafras.
No.
11 years this is somebody I was able to talk to.
You can't replace
come at the end of the day, come into my room and let out anything that I wanted to. She would listen. She is unlike another person who might talk back or give me advice unsolicited. All she did was stay in her cage and listen.
And that's what she wanted to do. Stay in her cage and just listen. But you decided that you were going to allow your roommate an opportunity to hold her. And this is what I'm thinking about in this moment. You knew, because you stated it in court, that when the tarantula feels fear, that the tarantula could potentially bite. We can't even say for certain that the passing of the tarantula from one hand to the next could have been something that made the tarantula feel fear.
I don't believe it would have, Your Honor.
Well, of course you don't.
Because it was a gentle nudge, and I let her walk on her own.
Don't. Just like everybody at the dog park who says their dog doesn't bite, and everybody that has an animal that says their animal is gentle, we all want to believe that. You the one trying to put it on your shoulder and take a picture doing team too much, and then got bit because of it. So your counterclaim is dismissed. As for you, Mr. Carroll, now sassafras is dead. I'm sick of both of y'all. I'm telling you the truth. You made a choice to take Pet out of the place where you know it is safe. You also made the decision to allow someone else to hold it that you trusted would do exactly what you said. I do believe you said just hold her in your hand like this. In the moment that Mr. Lopez changed the position of the animal, I do believe he set into motion the circumstances which caused his bite and, unfortunately, Sassafras to be killed. With that said, there is some responsibility you bear in this.
I would rather not have held it at all.
Because you had an opportunity to say, don't do that. And you didn't. You just watched it in shock. For that reason, I'm going to give you half of what you're asking for, a judgment for the plaintiff for $350. I hope the next time you get a pet of this nature, just keep it to yourself. Court is adjourned.
Yes, Your Honor.
All rise.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant owes $350.
I never told you to do that. If you had asked me, I would have told you straight out that's a bad idea, and I would not have let you do it. If I knew you were going to do that, I wouldn't even have let you hold her. I don't want to ever see you again. I wish you the best of luck, and wherever you're going to live next, stay away from me.